LEGO officially announced the new architecture set, Trevi Fountain, which I got to see firsthand last September for Fan Media Days, so here's how that presentation went.
Alright, so in 2014, LEGO Architecture took a trip to this amazing Baroque landmark, and we must have done our due diligence and thrown in a coin in the fountain because here we are, 10 years later, returning to the Trevi Fountain.
Wow.
So, for those of you who are familiar with the 2014 model, you might notice that this one's a little bit larger, and this one might have a little bit more color. My name is Mary Wilson, and I was the main model designer for this model. I work on icons in architecture, and I'm super excited to tell you all about this one today. With this size, one of the main things when building with LEGO, and building with LEGO architecture, is that it is not a scale replica. Rather, it's an interpretation of the landmark in LEGO bricks. So with this Trevi Fountain, we had to base it off of something in order to get a certain dimension that we wanted to use in order to show the details that we wanted to. So some of those factors were the 1x2 window, so we have a nice even grid, and using LEGO minifigures, which this is the first full minifigure to appear in a LEGO architecture line. This main figure here represents Oceanus, and he's flanked by Abundance and Health on either side. A fun little detail, which hopefully you can all see, but it's very small. We were able to bring back a new element because in front of Oceanus there are 2 hippocampi, or water horses, and some tritons next to him. And in order to get the same level of detail that the minifigure provides the human-like sculptures, we were able to bring back this toy horse head from a minifigure line in order to get the same detail on those little water horses down there. Something that's super cute. Another thing, like I mentioned, that's different is there's a lot of color in this model. Although the real Trevi Fountain is made of the same travertine stone, which is all white, we have to remember that it doesn't exist in a vacuum, and we wanted to create the general vibe of visiting Rome on a warm, sunny day. So within the piazza, there are buildings that surround this facade, and they're all painted with bright, warm, vibrant hues, and the light gets captured in this piazza and it reflects, and it gives this overall warm sunshine over it. And we really wanted to capture that, which led us to using this slightly more saturated color than we normally use in an architecture line as a light nougat. It really brings some more life into this model. Also, there's a lot of shadow of the facade itself. So we've used some tan in some of the darker under the overhangs and behind the window trims to kind of give it some more dimension. This also allows it to be viewed and kind of the details pop from a distance, which could be lost on a solid color model. This approach to color also extends down as we get into the rocks, which are the same stone, but they are made with a different surface texture, so it catches the light differently. And farther down, as it gets near the water, it turns into a dark tan, where the water is consistently splashing on the rocks. And even in the pool, which I'll lift this up so you can see, we have a gradient of blues that give the depth and shadow that you might see in the real thing. And I want to mention that this is not minifigure scale. The real Oceanus statue towers over the millions of visitors that come each year, but you can kind of get a sense for how large a person would be with these little lampposts. Some actually they're quite oversized bollards in real life, and these staircases on the side. And some of the build things that I really enjoyed adding to this are also some of the essential features of Baroque architecture. So things like the leaf pieces on top of the Corinthian pillars. We have these little clips used for the columns. And then I'm especially proud of the window trim, which uses some inverted pill plates and antenna in there to get that detail. And finally, I just want to say that I was lucky enough to visit this in 2019, and I took my picture in front of the fountain. I went over to the Lego store in Rome, and they have this big mural that is made of Lego pieces, and it is of the Trevi Fountain. I took my picture in front of that, and I had absolutely no idea that 5 years later I would be getting to take my own interpretation of this masterpiece. And so I hope for those of you who have had the chance to visit, it brings out some of those fond memories. And for those who are just passionate about architecture, art, Italian culture, or just warm summer vibes, I hope you can find something to enjoy from this model. So that's all I have. If there's any questions. Yeah?
See the back.
Yes. The back very solid.
Wow.
Yes. So this building is actually the facade of a graphical museum. And so the building itself extends and is painted this like bright orange color, and this is kind of the iconic portion. So we chose to not extend the building further, but just to end the model where people remember it. Yeah?
Are there any coins in the water? Like,
I think you'll have to build it to find out.
Daniel, with blocks, are there any new elements that you created for this?
So there's no new elements specifically for this model, but we are using some elements that are coming out around the same time as this model. And one of these is this dome in the center, which you may not have seen yet. And this is perfect for this Baroque architecture that uses these like exact like concentric circles. And it ended up being the perfect piece for that, although it was not developed for this one. Okay, and since we have a little bit of time, I actually have a joke that I really wanted to put in my presentation, but I had no idea how to get this naturally, so just be prepared. So I was actually going to bring a few models to this show and tell, but I dropped them on the way. It doesn't matter though, I only rebuilt the Trevi Fountain because you know what they say, if it ain't Baroque, don't fix it. Thank you all.
Now onto some numbers. The set will retail for $160 and it will contain 1,900 pieces. The release date will be March 1st and I'm pretty sure that I will get to review this eventually, so keep an eye out for that. Thanks for watching and I'll see you all on the next one.